Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to everyone, to the participant to this discussion, and of course to our esteemed speaker, Ms. Samantha Chan. Welcome to the talk organized by Putra Business School and our esteemed partner, the Malaysian Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, MAICSA. For today's session, I will be the MC. Okay, my name is Dr. Azman. If majority of you didn't know my name yet, so I will conduct the session from 2 o'clock until hopefully maybe 3 o'clock. So we're going to have two parts of this talk. First, we're going to have a session with Ms. Samantha Chan, probably around 45 minutes, to be followed by another special session conducted by MAICSA. And before we begin, I would like to give a presentation or introduction on our esteemed speaker. Okay, and we are very lucky.
Okay. There are a lot of fun and helpful things I can do.
Sorry, my LSR
Here's a quick
suddenly
introduction
make
to
a
some
sound.
things to try. Let's get started. To talk to me, just say my name and ask me a question. Yes, Alexa. How's the weather?
So basically,
I didn't catch that.
sorry, I need to switch on my LSR.
Alexa, how's the
There's
weather?
something at the back.
Sorry, I didn't get that. Let's look.
Okay, sorry about that. So, before we begin, let me introduce on our esteemed speaker. We are so lucky to have Ms. Samantha Chan to become our speaker for today. And the one that I'm going to highlight here is the Ms. Samantha Chan is a Chief Executive Officer of BoardRoom Malaysia, and also Managing Director for Asia Corporate Secretarial for the BoardRoom Group. Ms. Samantha is a council member and chartered governance professional of the Malaysian Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, MAICSA, and a member of its Thought Leadership Committee, Education Committee, and chairperson of the Technical Compliance and Governance Committee, focusing to driving corporate governance initiative. She has over 30 years of extensive experience in corporate governance and corporate secretary work, and provides advisory services including due diligence reviews for corporate restructuring, IPO processes and rollouts, virtual meeting management, governance-related advisory, including board assessment to clients of PLC, liquidation and preparation of circulars for submission to Bursa Malaysia. Ms. Samantha is a strong advocate for corporate governance and boasts a robust presence within the capital market in Malaysia. She is a much sought-after trainer for the in-house training and speaker for seminar, webinar organized by professional bodies, organization, and regulators. That's why we are very lucky today to have her, because initially she is her schedule actually very packed, and somehow by miracle, or maybe she decided this is the one session she really want to speak up, and she cleared the calendar just for us. So thank you so much, Ms. Samantha. We really appreciate this. And something that I also like to share here, Ms. Samantha has received the Asia Pacific Entrepreneurship Award in 2019 for outstanding category for professional and business service industry, and also a board member of the Malaysian Investor Relations Association, MIRA, and director of the Malaysian Alliance of Corporate Directors, and MACD. So we have a very good speaker to talk about something related to how the audience can benefit from having MAICSA membership and certification, especially on your career enhancement and pathway. And this is something that not many people know, that there are so many things MAICSA can offer through the certification and recognition. And before that, I just received requests from PBS to have a photo session first, so that we can share it in Facebook later. So Aini, maybe you can stop sharing first. I'm going to have Aini. Can you stop sharing first? Okay. So please switch on your camera so that I can screenshot it and we can share it in our Facebook. And I'm sure MAICSA also would love to have this screenshot so that can also advertise in our own media platform. Okay. Hey, Guaming, dalam kereta. Okay, ready? All right. So we have, I think we can fit everyone into one page. Then that's okay. All right. Ready? Okay. Smile, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me take it again because I noticed some of you just switch on the camera. Another 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. And typically, you might also want to have like a freestyle. Okay. Another one this time. Freestyle. Okay. All right. Okay, I already print screen the pictures. So without much further ado, I would like to invite Miss Samantha to have sharing lah, rather than presentation, sharing. And I was told that she also will allow Q&A towards the end, but I'm sure she doesn't mind if some of the participants will write on the chat box, not verbal question, just write on the chat box, so at least you can just simply read the question afterwards. So again, I would like to invite Ms. Samantha to give her talk.
Thanks, Dr. Ahmad. Okay. So thank you, everyone. I know it's a tough time. 2 o'clock to attend talk is the difficult when everybody is just taking the lunch. But so that I can start engaging everyone, right? So I think, as you can see, my career path has been, from day one, chartered secretary. So and then it actually gone on to corporate governance professional, and I've been doing this for the past 30 years, right? So that's why I try not to skip this, because it's really a passion to my heart. So this is something that I thought it would be very good if I can actually share to everyone here. And if I can just start the engagement, you can unmute if you want to speak, but otherwise you can also put it into the chat, right? So can I just know how many of you here, right, have actually worked with company secretary, or actually involved in corporate secretarial work or corporate governance work? Can I just say, if you can just key into the chat, yes or no? Okay, so mainly no, but some yes. Okay. Okay, that's good. So it's totally different, totally new to everyone, mostly here, right? So, okay. So if that's the case, then bear with me, because we have some who have been involved, but I will try to elaborate as much as I can, that in terms of the knowledge, right? What does actually a company secretary, a chartered secretary, or a corporate governance professional, right? Actually, what does it involve? What is the career path there? Because it's very, very interesting, especially now after the pandemic, everyone is calling me every week, Samantha, can you refer Charter Secretary to us, or corporate governance professional, or even what you call Chief Governance Officer or Chief Sustainability Officer. So this is like, wow, the key. We've never had so much demand from the market before, but I suppose because COVID is already 2.5 years, right? It was quite a bit quiet, but immediately this year, we actually see so much requests, and that's the reason why we thought it's actually a good time, to create the awareness on this. All right, next slide. Noreen, I deal with Charter Secretary in my daily work. That's great, Noreen. So at least you have done it, then it will be a little bit more easier to understand actually what does a Chartered Secretary do. All right, so on your left-hand side, you will see these are the perception that a lot of people have in terms of a Chartered Secretary. But I spoke to some of my new joinees, fresh graduates, right? And then trying to get them to just give some feedback. What do their parents think about Chartered Secretary? Do they actually know what a Chartered Secretary do, right? And you will be surprised that I do have some new fresh graduate who have joined us, where the parents perceive Chartered Secretary is like a personal secretary, where you more like a organizer, facilitator, right, and organizing meetings. So this is where, in the 30 years ago, yes, if you ask what is a Charter Secretary, it's a minutes taker, you manage the meeting, you take the minutes, you ensure compliance, all the compliance with the company law, with the listing requirement, with the regulator, right? But that has since evolved. It's already 30 years, right? So you talk about corporate governance. We have had corporate governance since year 2000. So it's already 22 years, right? And it is still going very strong. And it's very interesting because when I go down to Singapore and I go down to Hong Kong, actually Malaysia Corporate Governance Code is very, very comprehensive, even much more so than the other countries in the region, all right? And this is why the respect, the recognition, right, given to a Charter Secretary or a corporate governance professional in Malaysia is actually much more higher than in Singapore or Hong Kong, for example. But in Hong Kong, it's very interesting because most of our colleagues in Hong Kong, in BoardRoom Hong Kong, right, they actually take master in corporate governance. So they actually upskill, right? So what has evolved? Well, you can see here that, the knowledge is not just limited to Company Act, but because those of you who in the future, you are interested in the capital market, right, the public listed company, then you also have to have knowledge of the securities law, the listing requirements, right, in terms of finance, a little bit of governance, including ESG, right, sustainability that everyone is talking about. Is a very hot topic. Today, actually, there is an Institute of Corporate Directors. I think it's a 3-day summit. They have been having talks on this. So you can see the emphasis on corporate governance and sustainability. And of course, the areas of compliance, that one we cannot run. That is our basic core function, right? Making sure that the company complies with rules and regulation. All right. So because of that, right, company secretary never stop learning. Even myself, right? Even most of my managers, they actually attend training. So like in BoardRoom itself, we do training every month, right, to upskill everybody, just to make sure that they are updated with whatever changes there are in the market. All right, next slide. Okay, so this is just more, this is actually provided in the Corporate Governance Code. That's why I say why the recognition is given, because this is very clearly stated in the code that the company secretary, you are expected to manage the board meetings. So when I say manage the board meeting, right, it's not just organizing, sending out agenda, of the meeting, right? But actually sitting down with the chairman, CEO, or the board to plan for the whole year. So let's say we talk about the prominence of ESG, right? What is the governance structure? Where is the discussion on the KPI set to meet all the targets in terms of sustainability targets, right? So it's much more than just organizing a meeting, right? Of course, minutes are very important, all right? Minutes have actually always, if there is any challenge in court, for example, right, that is the first point of what do you call evidence, right? What went on at the board discussion. So why, we are called BoardRoom, because we deal with the directors, with the board a lot, right? So in terms of the advisory role that you're expected, but of course, if you start from the beginning, right, there will be a lot of paperwork. I can't deny that, because of you are advising clients or board in terms of company laws, right, listing requirements and so forth. So yes, definitely there will be a lot of paperwork, but as you move on the career path, right, that is where you then move on to the advisory role, right, play a more prominent role in terms of governance and ESG, right? So thirdly, in terms of even directors induction. So we talk about ESG, many directors are not familiar with ESG, what are the requirements and so forth. That is where then, you can actually help to develop a training program for the board of directors, all right, advising them on the corporate disclosures and compliance required. So it's interesting because just 2 days ago, Brussels have announced, right, and this now is made mandatory on the disclosure pertaining to ESG. This is something that, because in the past, everyone is saying, okay, it's not the law, it's best practice, right? So they are not much, what do you call qualitative statistics given if you look at some of the annual report, right? So this is going to change after next year. So all companies are given 1 year period next year to get themselves ready, data collection, right? Making sure they set the materiality, making sure they set the priority, and then who validate all this data collated and upload into the regulator dashboard in terms of ESG. So you can see it has really, suddenly in just 1 year this year, there is a lot of discussion ongoing now with regard to ESG, sustainability, and company secretary role. You somehow or other, direct or indirect, you have to be involved as well. Advisable to be involved because this is the most hot topic, like say favorite topic of the day, all right? And then monitoring corporate governance. So what is this monitoring corporate governance about? If you read, right, for example, how many of you have heard of server dynamic case? Can you just type into the chat group, yes or no? How many of you have heard of server dynamic case? So yes, no, yes, no, yes. So about 50%, all right? Okay, now I have a lot of yes. So everybody have heard about server dynamic case, right? So what is the case about? The case is about corporate governance, all right? It is about how the board make decision. What are the information furnished to the board in order to make a decision, right? So maybe just a wild guess. If let's say one public listed company, they were found to have some irregularities, whether it's financial statement, let's say we just take example, financial statements, irregularities they discover, right? So in that case, the auditors whistleblow that there is some irregularities in the financial statements. Who do you think our regulator, Brussels, will first call up? Is it the CEO? Is it the chairman? Is it the chairman, CEO, CFO, audit committee chairman, company secretary? Who's the first person the regulator will call? Can you type into the chat? COSAC. I wouldn't want to be the first person they call, right? Because I'm just a company secretary, right? But yeah, maybe anyone else? Who is the first person? The answer is in one of the category that I gave just now. Is it the chairman? Is it the CEO? Is it the CFO? Is it the audit committee chairman? Is it the company secretary? Louis Yi Wei, very good. Your guess, right? Audit committee chairman. Yes, they don't call CEO, they don't call chairman of the board. Why? Because they want to hear from the independent directors. So that is how important, the role of an independent director is, all right? And enforcement action have been taken against independent directors if they do not play their role in terms of making sure that they are proper corporate governance put in place. And this is where the directors will then rely on the company secretary, right, who have the knowledge and also the know-how in terms of how do you actually aid the company. So you will liaise with, so the company secretary here, right, is very interesting. Company secretary reports to the board, all right? But of course, they will also report to the CEO, right, as an employee of the company. But majority of the role function played is actually to the chairman of the board, all right? So because of that, this is where, as a company secretary, one of the position that you see, they have to actually liaise with a lot of other stakeholders. So for example, they will liaise with the CFO with regard to the quarterly announcement, audited financial statement. They will liaise with the corporate affairs with regard to the annual report, with regard to any press release, media release, because they need to make sure the compliance. They also liaise with all the advisors, investment bankers, lawyers, market research, right? Because they attend the due diligence. And that is where they are in the due diligence working group. They need to make sure the submission of the documents, the preparation of the circular to shareholders, everything is in order, by working as a team together with all these advisors, right? So this is where, maybe I just throw another question, right? Which one do you think is a more important role? Is it technical, right? Or is it network? Who is your network? So as a career path, if you want to develop a career path, right? Who do you think will be the most important role here, right? Is it technical, your technical capability, right? You join a company, you learn about company secretary or a corporate governance professional, right? And then you also do a lot of networking. Which role do you think would be more important in terms of your career development? Can you type into the chat? Networking? Both. Okay, what about the rest? Networking? All right. So that is very, very important. All right. Technical will play probably about 40% in terms of career development. 60%, there are many other skill sets, right? So one of them, of course, is the network, the gatekeeper, the relationship you build with your board of directors, the relationship you build with the advisors, with the regulators, right? So even I have a lot of, sometimes when I talk to the new fresh graduate, they say, oh, but I want to set up my own business. But when you set up your own business, the thing is, do you know how to run a proper business, right? And this is where the challenge is, because if you're a company secretary, you attend board meetings, you actually have first-hand knowledge, in terms of how this corporate world works. How do they do business plan? How do they do cash flow forecasts? How they do in terms of resources required, right? How do you do a budget, right? How do you do the audited financial statement? So I have had even my own relative, sometimes coming up to me and say, look, I want to set up my own restaurant, but I don't want to learn anything about audited financial statements. Now that is, you can, of course, you hire people, right? And if you read in the news, how many people, celebrities have been burned because they leave to their consultants to do the work, but without overseeing. There's no oversight role, right? So you still need to have the oversight role, making sure, right, that whoever who advise you, whether it's finance, accounts, right, or even corporate, that there is no conflict of interest, right? So therefore, the knowledge, like I say, the knowledge is a very full kind of a library knowledge because of the role you play as a company secretary, right? So you serve as a focal point in the last where you all stakeholders in terms of the communication and engagement, right? So when we talk about corporate governance, there are so many things, right? In terms of advising the board, in terms of the board composition, in terms of board evaluation, how do you do a board evaluation, making sure that the board is effective, so that you can justify during the shareholders meeting, right, that a certain director should be re-elected. And then talking about risk management, you also talk about ESG, right, environmental social governance that I mentioned just now, because now it is mandatory disclosure under the listing requirement, right, especially with regard to climate change, for example. Next slide. So if you have any question, please feel free to key into the chat, yeah? So I will read it now and then. Okay, next slide. So this is just the perception, right? Everybody say, oh, okay, company secretary, they're sitting at the corner, right, taking down minutes. But actually, it's much more than that, right? In terms of the role they play in terms of the board papers, right? If let's say there are certain proposals to be tabled to the board, the company secretary has to liaise with all the stakeholders that I mentioned just now, finance people, corporate affairs people, legal, HR, to make sure that board papers that are presented, are tabled, is relevant, all right? It's not misleading and so forth, right? Next slide. So many things here, right? So this morning I attended another talk. So again, I have same question. Oh, company secretary has to play so many roles. You have to know the laws, right? You have to be aware of in terms of governance, regulations, right? In terms of board policies of a company. So yes, so company secretary is expected to multitask. That is one of the skill set, right? So even when we interview, right, multitasking is something that you need to have the skill set, because you are advising the board of directors. So the board, during a board meeting, they will look at you, company secretary, right? What is your advice, right? So that is the reason why it is actually all-encompassing, all right? You may not be, you've probably specialized in company secretary, right? But you need to also have generalized or generalist expertise in all the other area that I mentioned just now. All right, next slide. All right, so they need to have deep understanding in all these areas that we mentioned just now, making sure, right, in terms of governance, risk management, even if you want to join a government linked company, for example, nowadays, that's why I say just now, a lot of this government linked company, they also have a chief governance officer or chief sustainability officer, right? Because of the increasing prominence that is being given, right? And the best part, the beauty of this is, if you take MAICSA, ICSA paper, right? So when I first graduated, I worked in Malaysia with a public listed company, but because it was very slow learning for me. So I actually then went to apply for a job in Singapore, right? And I was so shocked because all I need to do is transfer my MAICSA and ICSA, right, membership to Singapore, and I can start practicing as a company secretary in Singapore. The same thing with Hong Kong. It's just that Hong Kong, I was told just recently, is when they go to Hong Kong to work, they have to take one paper in order to practice as a company secretary. But just one paper. Can you imagine? What about lawyers? What about accountants? What about engineers, doctors? It's not so flexible, right? So that is the beauty of this role. And, but of course, even for us, we second our colleagues to Hong Kong and Singapore, many also don't want to come back already because they are so happy there. They find that because of the Commonwealth country, right, it's actually very easy to adapt. So can you imagine this paper, right? The value of this ICSA paper, don't underestimate it. Okay, now all the more so because after the great resignation, right? There are many companies who are looking for company secretaries, corporate governance professional everywhere, like say Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, in the region. All right. Next slide. Okay. So this is actually, yeah. So one of it that is similar to what I've mentioned just now, but one of the very important point also is in terms of managing shareholders meeting, AGM, right? If I can just also have some of you, if you can type into the chat group, right? Whether you have attended an AGM, annual general meeting or shareholders meeting before. Yes or no? Can you type into the chat while I look at the questions, right? So Kashif, you have a question. So company secretary must have knowledge of governance, HR, management, accounting, and finance, isn't it? Well, so like I say, if you want to specialize in company secretary, right? Then yes, you have to have knowledge in all the rules and laws and regulation, right? But as far as the other function, just now you talk about accounting, HR, all this, at least a general knowledge. Why I say general knowledge? For example, very simple. Your board of directors, there is a tussle. I want to remove a director, company secretary. Can you advise me how to remove a director? Right. So we do a lot of directors and shareholder tussle, right? But I can advise on the company law, right? You can remove a director, just call a shareholders meeting. If you have 10% of shares, you can call a shareholders meeting and whatnot, right? That is a technical part. But there is the other part angle on HR. So I have to also highlight to the board, look, it's not, even though the law allows you to remove a director very easily, but under HR, because they are an executive, right? You need to make sure that the HR compliance is also done, meaning to say, did you put a performance improvement plan in place so that, the director who is removed cannot then sue the company for unlawful dismissal, right? And then when you do the papers on the annual report or audited financial statements, of course, we leave it to the CFO to manage that. But on the other hand, we talk about director's fee, which is also disclosed in the accounts, for example. So we have to work very closely with the accountant. Of course, accountant will be very well versed in the accounting standards, but for us, company secretary, we will be very strong in terms of the listing requirement. So that is where we work with the accountant to just make sure that there is no gap in place, right? So yes, so I hope I answer your question, right? It is always good to have a general knowledge, right? Because, certain things, it doesn't just work silo, right? It is a team. And that's the reason when you go into IPO, for example, right? If you help company to go into listing, you will be put into a due diligence working group. And in the due diligence working group, they will be, lawyers, merchant banks, market research, all this giving their input, right? How do you put a business model together better to justify that it is qualified to list in the stock market, right? So that's why, it's never ending. For me, for example, I make sure, every month I read some papers, or every month I attend some other talks, right? To actually expand your knowledge, it is very, very important, all right? So we don't stop learning, okay? All right, just going back just now. So most of you have, oh, that's great. All of you here have attended AGM, that's fantastic. Okay, that is fantastic. So you have attended the AGM, you know how a shareholders meeting works, right? Shareholder activism. So you will be surprised this year because institutional investors like EPF, PNB, Tabung Haji, right? They publish their voting principles. So if let's say we find the corporate governance of this company, there are some issues, there are some, for example, even if they see the board directors meeting, the very low attendance of the board meeting, if they see the board composition, independent directors have been there for so many years, they will actually raise all this during the AGM and then exercise their right to not re-elect the directors. Now, because the institutional investors have actually published this, right, in line with the listing requirement, because listing requirement now, they have mandated directors, independent directors, you can no longer carry on as independent directors after 12 years tenure. For the very first time, because the regulators say, you know, we have talked about corporate governance 20 over years, but we still see many directors with tenure over 20 years. So that's the reason why they changed the listing requirement recently to stop at maximum 12 years. And they give companies by 1st June 2023 to make all these changes on the board of directors. So this is where your role as a company secretary come in. Oh, you have to advise the directors. Please, we have to look into a pool of directors. We have to start creating. We have to do succession planning, right? Because you have directors, when are they due 12 years, right? How do you then do succession planning, making sure that you have the candidates to take on the role as and when there is a vacant position, for example, all right? How do you set the KPI for ESG? So all this is where your role as a corporate governance professional will come in. So what I mentioned by if you want to be a specialist, because why? There are other company secretaries that I've met, right? That is very interesting. They go beyond it. What I mean by go beyond, right? So company secretaries, for example, Paramount, Public Bank, they have actually moved on to become a COO. Some have moved on to become a chief risk officer. Some have moved on to become an investor relations head, right? So it's really you. What are you passionate about, right? So you can, from a company secretary or corporate governance, it's like a stepping stone. Because like I say, you meet a lot of people, you learn a lot of rules, requirements, and you also will talk about a lot of restructuring with the lawyers, with the merchant bank, right? So it doesn't just stop there. You want to move up further, you want to go into a COO role, CEO role, nothing to stop you. So for example, even myself, right? When I first joined my company 30 years ago, there's only 20 over headcount, right? But it's already 30 years now. I'm running a group of company, a region with regional base, right? Which is recognized internationally. We have about 450 headcount, right? Our revenue is about 70 million, right? So what is there to stop? So that's why I say it is really, really a very good stepping stone, a certificate that, you know, you should not underestimate at all. All right. Okay. Sorry. The slide, no more slide already, is it?
There has been a back connection. Okay, Aini is coming in.
So whatever I say, did they get it?
Okay, I think she's going to share the slide now again. Aini going to share the slide again.
But did you hear me just now, or the line break as well?
Yes, we can hear you really well.
Okay.
It's just the slide was not there. Okay, now it's on.
Okay. So next slide.
Sorry, because our line very bad. We lost connection just now. It's okay, Miss Samantha. May I know which slide that you left actually?
Okay, you can move on to the next slide.
Next slide. Hold on. Is it this?
Yeah. Okay.
Is it this?
Okay. Yeah.
This
We can. So this is okay. Maybe you can stop here.
Okay.
So this is where I mentioned just now. It can be company secretary if you just want to specialize in company secretary role, right? Even company secretary, it can be in a secretarial firm. I love to be in a secretarial firm because of the library, the rich data available, right? So we handle about 300 public listed company. We handle about 4,000 over clients, right? But of course, the option is you can also go into in-house, corporate secretarial, chartered governance professional. So like I say, public listed company, government-linked companies, everyone is in a very desperate need of people, right? So if you can join any of this, it's actually it's a very good timing to do so, all right? Because of all the emphasis on corporate governance as well as ESG, sustainability. What kind of in-house firm can we do? In-house means, so secretarial firm, right? For us, for example, we handle the corporate secretarial compliance requirement or corporate governance requirement of our clients. So this is external secretarial firm. When I say in-house means companies like SIMW. So the company, the public listed company themselves hire in-house company secretary or corporate governance professional, or like say chief sustainability officer, chief governance officer, head of investor relation, right? Have you seen the role changes for company secretary compared to pre-COVID? Definitely, all right? So, I mean, of course, on the right-hand side, you can see the screen, right? It's not just acting as company secretary. You can actually, set up your own business, running it as a CEO. You can be a board member, right? Just I have had invitation, but I dare not, because as a director, right, it's very, very onerous role, right? You can act as advisor. You can act as academia or thought leader. Next slide will show you even better in terms of pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? Sorry, can I have the next slide, Rohani? The technology side. Do you have that slide? Yeah, correct. So because of COVID, right, suddenly we say, hey, company secretary now also have to utilize technology in the roles that they played. All right. So in the past, not many companies actually use secretarial software. All right, not many companies. But because of COVID, we were having so much challenges, right? Because you are not allowed to go into the office. Staff are not allowed to work from office. And that's the reason why for the last 2 years, BoardRoom ourselves, we were like just pushed into the technology journey in a very, very short time frame because of COVID, right? So what happened now is you will see board meetings, people using the technology to manage the board papers, right? To manage meetings, for example, then whatever all the records have is no longer in just Microsoft Word, a server or Drive, but they actually push it into a document management system so that you can do a lot of global search. You can actually then have access it from home, right? If your clients or your directors say, I want a form 58, who are the directors? Immediately, you can pull out the information, right? So corporate secretarial software in terms of generating the reports. So in the past, you may be using Microsoft, so you have to do very, very detailed checking. But by using secretarial software, right, all this because you already have the database, you have checked one round. So it is actually much more efficient in the sense, right? Then we talk about virtual meeting. So this was fantastic because in the past, when we talk about online meeting, right, most directors do not want that. But because of COVID, this year, all our shareholders meeting, 99% are all virtual meeting. And what it means is suddenly, right, everybody has escalated their skill set on technology. Everybody knows now how to use Zoom or Teams to participate in meetings. And myself, it was like, well, last time I can only do 2 meetings a day. Now I can actually attend multiple clients meetings simultaneously at the same time, right? So it's real, but it's a challenge as well because it's just that some of the feedback is that, whoa, because of all these changes, suddenly they have to upskill a lot. So after the COVID, some actually then, take a break, rejuvenate, and then go back into the industry, all right? But many things have happened. Many things have changed. Even in terms of board evaluation, they also use the software to do it. So even digital signature, for example, right? Fantastic. In the past, I used to have tons and tons of papers on my table, right? Waiting for signature. But now I can just use my handphone, right? Wherever I am, right? In the car, even outside the office, I can just sign the document, right? To clear whatever approval that is needed. So it's really, really different in terms of the role here. But what is more important, like say ESG, because all this will also have impact. And it is because of the COVID that, suddenly also you see people, hey, I have to deal with all these flood, fires, and have an impact to the company's bottom line. So that's why in the past we talk about, ESG. In corporate governance code, we talk about ESG. In the listing requirement, we talk about EES. EES means economic, right, environment, and social. All right. So then, how all this now have come together. That's why I say it's no longer corporate company secretary. The company secretary role have actually evolved so much in the 2.5 years, right? So there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of expectation in terms of the role. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, so this is just my journey that I mentioned just now, right? So from one company, then I have actually now in charge of so many multiple companies. I'm also in charge of the Asia region in terms of Singapore and Hong Kong, right? So that's why I say nothing to stop you. You want to go how high? The question is how high you want to go. But I have also met company secretary who are very happy just doing corporate secretarial work. Right? So if that's the case, then yes, you can remain, as company secretary, but even company secretary role, you need to challenge yourself, right? In terms of really being able to support the board. How can you be a class A company secretary, for example, right? Next slide. Rohani, is that the last slide? Yeah. So, okay, this is just in the event you are interested, all right, please feel free to write to us. We'll be more than happy, to interview. And even if you don't intend to join us, right, it doesn't matter. You can actually reach out to our HR if you want to find out more, actually, what is the role a company secretary play, all right? Our HR, because they actually mentor a lot of students as well. So please feel free to call them. They'll be more than happy to entertain, all right? So, thank you, everyone. Wait, did I miss any question? Let me just. How different is EES and ESG? All right, so actually, it's all interrelated. All right, because in the listing requirement, it says, you see, in the past we talk about CSR, and when we talk about CSR, right, a lot of company in the past is, why do I need to invest in CSR? Right? And they don't, because they don't see the economic benefit that, actually when you invest, right, for example, your bottom line, your profit can actually go up. All right. So that's the reason why they have then coined it to ESG. But in the new corporate governance code, they all talk about ESG instead of EES. Reason being because in each and every of these three elements, environmental, social, governance, they are actually economic factor in each of these three, right? So it's more integrated approach. And that's why you look at annual report nowadays, they have moved on, it's a very silo approach. You have chairman statement, MD&A, corporate governance report. But the next trend coming, right, is you will see lots and lots more annual report will be done in an integrated approach way, right? Where you don't see it as a compliance, but actually embedding it into the operations of the company, where you can then see, efficiency, productivity, and then you can see the impact to your bottom line. So that is the difference. All right, so I hope I have answered your question. Louis, okay. Okay, I think I have finished my session now. Rohani, maybe I pass this back to you.
Oh, before that, can I ask a question, Ms. Samantha?
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes.
I also feel like a student because you have been sharing so much information, and some are very new to me. Okay. I'm just wondering, Ms. Samantha, for the past 30 years of experience, I'm just wondering, we have the position of Chief Integrity Officer, and then when now we have a governance professional, I'm just wondering, among the public listed company or big companies, will there be a possibility that they have a position like Chief Governance Officer or something like that? Is it going to be a trend or what?
Yes, definitely. So definitely. So in the code, they did, but it's a step up. Step up means it's the best practice for the large company where you need to have dedicated sustainability officer. All right. chief integrity officer, chief governance officer, right? All this actually is fall under the umbrella of governance, corporate governance. All right, because you talk about integrity, actually you go back to the fundamental, which is, for example, what are the company's policy on the code of ethics, whistleblowing, right? In terms of anti-bribery policy. So actually it's all the same in the sense that it sits under the umbrella of the corporate governance. All right. And that's the reason why Company Secretary Association globally have been rebranded to Corporate Governance Institute. All right. So it's already done in Australia. It's done in some other countries in the region. So Malaysia, it is also in the progress, right? It's ongoing now with all these changes, but it's just that the awareness needs to be there. So we talk about Chief Integrity Officer because of the emphasis on anti-corruption laws and all that. So that is the reason why you see the need for a Chief Integrity Officer, especially more so for government-linked companies, right? Because they need to make sure they comply with the group policy, all right? So this is where they then work hand in hand together with MAICSA to actually build the whole ecosystem. So it's not just building a unit, right? But the Chief Integrity Officer, Chief Governance Officer, Chief Sustainability Officer, they actually have to work together with all these other stakeholders, finance, legal, HR, and all that, right? To embed all these policies into the company's operation. And that is the reason why the emphasis and the demand for all these roles nowadays. Yeah. Okay, I see that, so Dr. Ahmad, I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. And there are two more questions in the chat box for you.
All right. Okay, so Zaidatu, in your opinion, is it necessary for a company secretary to have a legal background? It is common for a company looking for a company secretary with this value-added qualification. So the answer to your question is, in the past, right? In the past, it started with, how do you say, dual role, in the sense, you know, in the past, they don't give emphasis. That was 30 years ago, so much on company secretaries. So 30 years ago, you will see accountant, CFO acting as company secretary, also joint role, dual role. You also see head of legal department acting as company secretary, joint role. But as more and more roles are expected of a company secretary, right? So that is the reason why you see, hey, now, even if you don't have legal background, it doesn't matter. It is fine. Because as a company secretary itself, there's already so much of the role that I mentioned just now, right, that you have to play. But of course, if you have legal background, it is an added value, all right? So in our firm, for example, I have people with background accountancy degree, all right, who now become a company secretary. I have some of my colleagues, they are company secretary, but they enhance further study. So they also take up MBA, some actually take up business admin, some will actually sit for the ACCA paper, some will actually sit for the legal degree as well, right? So it is a value add, but it doesn't mean you must have, because ICSA itself have a company law topic, right? And so that's the thing, because of our compliance role, right? We need to know in terms of the legal requirement, right? So it's just that as when you are in the line, day-to-day company secretary, for example, right? You will come across all these questions in terms of legal, right? So that's why I say of course, it will be an advantage if you have, right? But the only thing is, a lot of company also, they try to save costs in the sense, if I have a head of legal, I also make the head of legal a named company secretary, because if they have that LLB title, right, or accounting MIA member, for example, they can also act as a company secretary. But I can just tell you is now, because they are saying is so much more roles that is required. Even the head of legal of a government-linked or public listed company, they will hire a company secretary to support the head of legal, because it's just too much to be playing the dual role in that sense. All right. By taking corporate governance knowledge, is it beneficial for those working in the government sector? Definitely, all right. Because corporate governance is, interestingly, the 2021 corporate governance had been launched, right? In the past, we always have this perception, oh, corporate governance, only public listed company. So now it has been clarified in the code. Actually, it is applicable to all companies, including private limited company. It's just that there's no enforcement. Public listed company, the enforcement is because of the disclosure. You need to disclose in the annual report. So then all the other stakeholders, right, your shareholders, your customers, they can read what are the corporate governance you put in place, right? And therefore, if they are not happy, they can vote out the directors or vote out the director's fee, for example. But private limited company, you don't have this disclosure requirement yet, right? For government division, more so because of what I mentioned just now, in terms of corporate governance emphasis, all right? Private limited company, because of the anti-corruption law, right? In Malaysia, this is the only country, right, where we actually hold the directors or the officer of a company personally liable if you don't put in place an adequate procedure, right? So because of that, that is the reason why, you know, you will see nowadays, we have a lot of private limited company, government agency who actually attend our talks because they want to know what are the tools out there in terms of corporate governance, in terms of risk management. So definitely I can give you the assurance, right? Even if you join a government agency, it is getting more and more prominent in terms of corporate governance and sustainability. Okay, so if there are no further questions, Dr. Ahmad, is there any other question from your side?
Yes, okay. I think that's very informative. I think we are going to have a second session.
Nubaya?
Okay, Miss Samantha, just one more question. Just now you said that corporate governance knowledge is beneficial for government sector as well, okay, nowadays. But just seeking your advice, if you can give some advice. Okay, let's say like myself, I've been working with the government agency for quite some time previously. All right, so I've resigned from that company because I'm doing my MBA. But the thing is that when I try to apply for governance position in private company, what I get mostly, the response from them is that you are not corporate enough to be in a private company, or because of the long working environment within the government agency. So for them, it's like you're working for the government. Government is not so corporate enough. You don't have like experience in listing and whatnot, because definitely government agency, you don't have to be a public listed company. So any advice from you how to like convince them, or you know, like how to step up and learn from the typical thinking?
Maybe if you can share, right, Nubaya, what is your background? When you mentioned you are in the government agency, right? What were you doing during that time with the government agency? Is it more administrative in nature? Is it actually putting a lot of helping them to put some policies in place?
Actually, I'm a legal and secretarial manager back then.
Okay.
Yeah, so once I left, I had been having quite difficulty to get into the corporate world. I mean, like private, because of the government agency status. For them, like you are working too. Most of the response that I get is that you are working too long in the government agency, so you are not that corporate enough, you know.
Okay, so I suppose it really depends on your role. So in your resume, what are the, if you can elaborate, right, how you have actually assisted or played in the corporate governance role? So for example, that I mentioned just now, right? So you mentioned you're a manager, charter secretary manager, right? Your role in terms of corporate governance. So for example, in terms of making sure the compliance is one, Then secondly, in terms of when you talk about corporate governance, as in what are the policies that you have assisted in to put in place? How do you then help to roll out those policy? So for example, just now we talk about, in code of ethics, whistleblowing, anti-corruption, anti-bribery. This is the three, is a must because of the section 17A corporate liability clause. All companies have to really put emphasis on that. So you should actually emphasize on this one, because many companies are not giving enough emphasis. All right. So if you can actually elaborate that is the role there that you can play, right? I think if you apply for public listed company, of course, because public listed company, they will expect you to have knowledge on listing requirement, knowledge in terms of the capital market laws, right? So it doesn't mean you can't do it, you can do it. It's just that it will take time, and then you need to try and get in a company which will give you the opportunity to do so. All right. So Norbai, if you don't mind me asking, right, send me your resume, because sometimes we have client asking, but I don't have, the thing is I don't have many government agency because we deal more is public listed company, right? But do send me your resume, and then if we come across really suitable government agency that are looking for people, I can then contact you, right? And you can always let me know. Once you give us the consent, then we will forward your contact to them. All right.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Samantha. Thank you very much for your advice.
Yeah, I have put in my contact number in there. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, you can actually call me or WhatsApp me, because sometimes I'm at meetings and all that. Okay. All right. So Rohani,
All right.
okay, thank you so much.
So we're going to have a second session now by MAICSA, but of course now you have Miss Samantha number, you can simply WhatsApp her. All right. Okay. Thank you, Miss Samantha. So Rohani, if you want to start the second session.
Okay, thank you, Miss Samantha. And also thank you to Dr. Ahmed Razman. Okay, now we would like to invite Ms. Subatira from the membership department to deliver the talk on the membership application, followed by next speaker, Ms. Norizura, former Master Collab student, to share her journey from Master Collab to MAICSA member. Over to you, Ms. Suba.
Hi everyone, good afternoon all. Okay, I'm Shubhaya. Okay, I'm going to brief all of you all on the membership. Okay, this is the figures that we have membership worldwide. We have about 29,000 members worldwide. This is about advancing your membership, which we have about 3 categories here, which is first one is the graduate, which once you have complete your institute examinations, so you'll be getting a graduate, which is actually a temporary grade. In order to further to apply for associate member, you must have at least 6 years relevant working experience to get to upgrade yourself to associate member. And with these 6 years, actually, you can reduce to 3 years full-time education. Means you should have 3 years working experience plus 3 years education, full-time education. Okay, and the relevant working example of which will be under admin, HR, finance, accounts, legal, taxation, and so on. Okay, and once elected to associate category, which you may use ACIS, CS, CGP, that is the post nominals that you can use after your name. The third one will be the fellowship, which is a senior grade of membership, which can be applied by eligible graduate or associate, which they should have at least 8 years of working experience. and where the 3 years should be in the senior level position. Example, senior level means it should be COSAC or manager level. Once elected to the fellowship, you can use the post-nominals example, which you can see is FCIS, CS, and CGP. And one more thing is about this membership is if you're planning to work or live in another country, this membership is actually transferable across 9 divisions, which if you're planning to work in Singapore, you can actually transfer your graduateship, your associate or fellowship to the Singapore division. Okay, this slide is actually the benefits of becoming a MAICSA member, where you can use dual designations given, which is CS and CGP. Then you can receive free access to informative magazines. We call it as a corporate voice. Then you may attend a training program or purchase publication at members rate. You may receive a regular news and technical update via our institute's webmaster. Okay, recognition is actually where our qualification is recognized as an honors degree by the Public Service Department. And MAICSA members are actually qualified to be named and or act as a company secretary with the implementation of Section 241 of the Companies Act 2016. All practicing company secretaries whose names are in the Section 58 form must apply for practicing certificate from CCM. CCM is Company Commission of Malaysia. And members who have at least 5 years tax experience, they can apply for a tax or GST agents. Okay, this is the statistic where we have about 945 public limited companies in Malaysia, and overall 60% of it is owned by MAICSA membership. MAICSA members are in this all these 945 PLCs. This slide actually is the testimonials from our current members, which you can see. There's how they enjoying or how they happily working in company secretary field. From, if you see, from Mr. Vincent, Puan Mazna, and Miss Chu Cindy. I'll go for the next one, which is also the testimonial. I'll share you a corporate video now.
The dual designation of CS and CGP carry weight. They represent my ability and knowledge in the secretarial and governance field. They give me authority over the subject and flexibility in doing my job function.
You see, what I have found from experience is that with company secretarial or CG qualification, we usually end up knowing more law than the accountants and more accounts than the lawyers. I'm not sure whether everybody realizes that. Okay, so the varied subjects that we are exposed to in our as company secretaries and CG studies and the relevant work actually gives us a number of skills and knowledge that can enable us to do a variety of corporate work.
It is always good to have diverse abilities or competencies. We must be a jack of all trades and a master of many at the same time. That way, we will surely make an indelible impression.
So, are qualified actually to do a whole host of corporate tasks such as investor relations, risk management, administration, corporate affairs, corporate communication, and the list goes on.
We need to break the silo mentality. Instead of picking and choosing what we want to do or what we think we should only be doing, embrace each task that is given, even if that means that we are treading into uncharted water.
For the young members of MAICSA, I would say to you, just go for it. The force of law and governance regulations in Malaysia have given you a new ammunition, new power for your career. With CS and CGP, you are equipped to do a multitude of tasks in your organization. Take every opportunity to update and upgrade yourselves to the various training sessions organized by MAICSA.
Now, we would like to invite Ms. Norizura, former Master Collab, to share her experience and journey from Master Collab to MAICSA member. Ms. Norizura, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Rohani, Ms. Suba, and Dr. Ahmad Razman for this talk organized under this corporate governance. So, I'm Izura Juso. I'm a former MAICSA student, which under the Master Collaboration Program with University Technology Mara, UITM. Okay, I believe that all of you here are in the stage where you need to choose yours, whether you want to go under specialization for the Master Collaboration under the Master Corporate Governance, or you want to go under the General MBA, right? So, here I want to share with you why you should choose to go under the program Master Collaboration Program. Here, why I decided before this, why I go for the Master Collaboration Program, because first of all, we offer the dual qualifications, whereby first you will get the master qualification, secondly you will get the CGI qualification. It means that you can kill two birds with one stone, right? So because you can get dual qualifications. So here you did not have to like go for the external examination to get this professional certification, meaning that after you complete your master's program with PBS, for example, for PBS, and then after that, upon completion your master's program, you can get this CGI qualification. So it's very benefit for you because you can get this qualification as well. So what you need to do is that you just need to register as a MAICSA student. That's all. Okay. And then meaning that what I mean that you don't have to go our external examination because when you do the master program with the PBS, okay, the examination that you have with PBS actually is the same as us, because the what we call the syllabus, they already streamline with our syllabus as well. That's why you don't have to do our external examination. So you just follow the program organized by PBS, the Master Corporate Governance, and upon completion, we will awarded you the CGI qualification as well. So because this one, secondly, why? Because okay, like Ms. Suba already explained before this, the benefit that you can get as a MAICSA member, of course, once you become a grad CG, after you complete your master program, right? You become a grad CGI. We call you grad CG. So grad CG, from the grad CG, you want to move into the associate member or the fellowship member, that one. You need to obtain, of course, 3 years working experience and above to move into from your grad CG to associate member. If you have working experience more than 10 years, you can upgrade yourself into the fellowship member. So that one, after you become for example, associate member or fellowship member, you can use our dual designation after your name. You can put ACIS CS CGP after your name, or FCIS CS CGP after your name as well. and you can sign as a chartered secretaries. I mean, you can sign as a chartered secretaries if you upon application to the Companies Commission of Malaysia lah, if you want to practice as a chartered secretaries, that one. Like mentioned, if you have more than 5 years working experience under the tax, you can apply, become a tax agent. That one is under the section of under the Income Tax Act, that one. Okay, basically, if let's say, meaning that if you choose this path under the specialization under the corporate governance, this one, you meaning that you don't incur any additional time frame for you to get this qualification. You just finish your program under the Master Collab, then upon completion, you can just get this qualification. And then after you grad, you can apply to become associate or fellowship, and then you can just enjoy the benefit under this what we call the designations lah. Okay. So I think that's all from me, Ms. Rohani.
All right, there's some question in the chat box. Maybe MAICSA can answer the question in the chat box. Aini or Azura? Are you there?
Oh, sorry. I believe that Ms. Rohani lost connection just now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I will answer the question from Amirul Azri, right? How long will it take upon completion of our Master in Corporate Governance to be admitted graduate of ICSA? So basically, the process is like this. The university itself will give us the graduate list from their master collaboration program. It will, they will submit to us, to our education and department. Okay, we will endorse your result in our education committee meeting, and upon completion, upon approval, that one you can get the certificate as well. But that one you must know that MAICSA only election to membership only happen twice a year. First in February, secondly in August. So meaning that, let's say PBS sent us the graduate list in September, but we already have a membership election in August, right? So your name will be listed under the membership election next year, February, something like that lah. That is the process to become MAICSA, grad CG. You can get that certificate.
Right. There's a question on relevant working experience. What does it mean?
Relevant working experience, like explained by Ms. Suba just now, in the related field, meaning that in of course in governance, in the secretarial, in the risk, what we call in accounting, something like that, in taxations, in administration, it's count as the related degree, related working experience as well. Okay, from Siti Zalina, may I know what is meant by external exam? What I meant by external examination is that, okay, we have several routes for you to become a MAICSA students. Okay, we have a normal route, fast track route, and also master collaboration. These all three programs will get you, for you to become a MAICSA student, okay, a member as well. So, but what I meant by the external examination is that Okay, for those who do not like collab with us under master collaboration, they need to go under the normal route or fast track route. For the normal route and a fast track route, that one, we will give exemption based on your bachelor degree. So that, for example, you have bachelor in law. So bachelor in law, you will get one exemption only from all our 7 subjects. So you need to complete another 6 subjects under our external examination, under MAICSA examination. But if you admit as master collaboration under the PBS, you choose these specializations, you don't have to do the MAICSA examination. You just follow the program, the master program that organized by PBS. You don't have to take our examination. You just take examination with PBS. But upon completion, you graduate with PBS, you can get our qualification. That's all. Okay. Related working experience include experience in audit. Yes, yes, it's include in audit as well. It's a relevant working experience. So hi, from Arun. Hi, could you explain to me again as to what are the requirements to get the MAICSA membership? Okay, to get a MAICSA membership, first, like I mentioned, first you have you need to complete the MAICSA examination. But if let's say you under the master collaboration, you don't have to complete our examination, you just complete your master program, we will award you the CGI qualification. And when you get our qualification, our certificate, you become our grad CG first, like I mentioned earlier. You become our grad CG, and after that, you can, okay, once you become a grad CG, the members department itself will send an email to you. So you need to tell us whether you have your working experience more than 3 years or more than 10 years, so that we can invite you whether you can become our associate member or fellowship. So once, let's say you have working experience more than 3 years, so you eligible for our associate member. So if let's say you were to apply for associate member, you have to give us your the working experience details, like what we call the proof that you have working in this related field, and then we can give you, you submit your application, we will table it to our membership committee. So that one upon approval. So next is any relation to PhD graduates of PBS. Is working experience in education institution is relevant? Yes, yes. Working in educational institution also is relevant. Okay, from Amirul, does MAICSA hold any convocation ceremony to all MAICSA graduate? Yes, MAICSA organize the convocation to all MAICSA graduate, but that one we every 2 years once. We don't we don't have like convocation every year. In 2 years, we have like a MAICSA convocation, that one. That one we will invite the graduates whether you want to come our convocation or not. But since a pandemic, 2000 for convocation supposed to be held in 2021, we postponed that one because we like still in the pandemic, right? So maybe next year we will have this convocation. Net forecastive side, exemptions to PhD from PBS. What does it mean by that? Meaning that you want to get exemption like from your PhD, something like that? Hello? Hello? Dr. Razman?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Can hear you clearly.
Kashif, referred to your question, right? Exemption to PhD from PBS. You mean you are now PhD and then you wish to become a member, by exemption without sitting or do the collaboration or what? Is it this what actually you mean?
I just want to ask that if I completed my PhD from PBS, then for certification in MAICSA, I want to be a student there. So what are the exemptions that are available to a PhD graduated from PBS?
Okay, like this, Mr. Kashif, as long as you actually enroll under the master collaboration with Putra Business School, at the end you will get the dual designation for master and also grad CG. Only then you can apply as a membership. I mean that because your examination is already done during your master. But the other case where actually you not even join this master collaboration, and then suddenly you want to use your PhD, and then you need to go through under the normal route of our CGQP lah. You need to do the based on your qualification. You might have or you might get entitled any exemption, but still need to do our exam if you are go to the normal route. Okay, if you are join or collaborate with Putra Business School, and then automatically you can apply as a member or MAICSA associate lah, based on your working experience that you gain so far. Okay, is it clear, Kashif?
Okay, it's clear.
Okay, next question from Sanaria. How about MBA student who taking CG subject but not major in CG? Example, MBA General Management. Is it still consider collaboration? No. If you go under specialization, corporate governance, that one is considered collaboration with MAICSA. If you go under MBA General Management, MAICSA will not awarded you with our qualification. Unless you go under specialization corporate governance, then we will give you our certifications lah. That one. So, but if let's say you go for other MBA general management, like mentioned, you finish that program. When you want to come to us, we want to have like this certification, professional certification, that one, you have to go our external examinations. So that's why for you, it's better for you to go under specialization, master collaboration under a master of corporate governance, so that you can get this qualification. You don't have to go our external examination. You don't have like incur any additional time frame for you to complete this program. You just need to register as a MAICSA student. You just need to pay 2,200 to become our students, and that's it. That's all. You don't have to pay for the examination cost, something like that. No, you just do the master program, and then upon completion, we will award you with our certifications. Okay, if we do master in corporate governance full time, can we be associate straight? Yes, if you have the if you have the working experience more than 3 years, like I mentioned earlier. For example, you finish your master program, we award you the award with the grad CG. If let's say you already have 3 years working experience and above, because you are not working, right? So you can straight away apply for associate member. What I did was like, because I'm a MAICSA under collaborative program, right? So after 3 years of experience working, I straight away apply for associate member. Now I'm associate member of MAICSA, and I'm working under senior officer in education and examination department as well. But added to that, if let's say you want to become an associate member, that one you have to give us all the related document that upon your applications lah, that one approval from our membership committee. So any other question related to this master collaboration program, you may ask us. Okay, Nor Fiza, if I got CG subject A in my MSc in International Accounting, how I am able to apply to be a member of MAICSA? But now meaning that here, you want to go under MAICSA specialization corporate governance, or you just say that this is under your general degree or your MBA, something like that. Can you explain to me first?
Okay, if I want to be a member, MAICSA, but
Mhm.
now, so I'm pursuing PhD in accounting. So that,
Okay.
yeah, so how's it?
That
So,
one PhD
mhm.
in accounting, meaning that you are not under these master collaborations, right? So
Yes.
if let's say you are not in this master collaboration, but we will evaluate you based on your transcript, meaning that once you done your PhD, right, you may
Okay.
submit to us your transcript. We will go through your transcript, whether which subject that you can get exemptions. But for the
Okay.
CG subject, unfortunately, this is a very like core subject. We don't give the what we call exemption for this particular subject.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, from the Arun, what are the subjects provided under MAICSA program? Because I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, you have mentioned that we need to sit for exam for MAICSA program. I know what are the subjects. Okay, we have for the CGQP program, we have altogether 7 subjects altogether. Okay, we have first corporate governance, we have company secretarial practice, we have interpreting financial and accounting information, we have also company law, development of strategy, risk management, and lastly, boardroom dynamics. We have 7 subjects. So if let's say you want to sign up as a MAICSA students, you can just, we will go through your transcript first. So we will determine your how many subjects you can get exemptions. But the maximum exemption, only 3 subject exemptions. That one under normal route. For the fast track route, you can get up to 5 exemption, need to do only 2 subjects. But if let's say you go under the master program, master collaboration like I mentioned, you don't have to do any examination with us. Just do your master program and then you get your qualification at the end of the program. So any other questions?
From Dr. Rasman,
Okay. If they want to communicate with, or if they want to ask further, normally we ask the student to communicate to our staff lah, Madam Nur Zawani. Madam Nur will be able to entertain any of your further question. And if something that we are not so sure, we will get to MAICSA to get the clarification. That's how normally we'll do, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, how do I register to MAICSA SPBS MBA CG student? Okay, that one, you just need to go, you just need to submit you can get our application form from Miss Nur Zawani, so that you can just fill up the form, make a payment 2,200, and then with all the what we call supporting documents that we need, that one you just submit to Miss Nur Zawani. Then Miss Nur Zawani will communicate with MAICSA for this what we call registration.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Azura. I just have a question. As I'm seeing the chat box here, there's one student asked, how do I register to MAICSA as a PBS MBA CG student? And you've mentioned that we need to contact Miss Nur Zawani regarding it.
Yes.
And we have to pay RM 2,200, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
this, do we need to sign up the application for this before we finish our MBA in corporate governance course, or what?
Yes, that one is a very good question. Okay, actually, you need to sign up as a MAICSA student before you complete the program, meaning that in your third semester. If let's say you already, do all your subjects, you finish the program, but after that you want to sign up as a MAICSA student, we will not award you the qualifications. You need to register as a MAICSA student in the third semester itself.
Third semester itself. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Before you complete the program lah. Because if let's say you register with us after you complete the program, we will not award you any qualifications, that one.
Okay. All right. All right. If I may ask, can I have can you pass me Miss Norzawani's contact number if can, the chat box?
I believe that Miss Norzawani is here, right?
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
So maybe that one you can just email to PBS.
All right.
I mean under Miss Norzawani at liaise.ps.edu.my if I'm not mistaken. That one you can just email straight away to Miss Norzawani lah.
Okay. All right. Noted. Thanks, Miss Azura.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so which means during any period of third semester we do the application will do, right? Actually, the beginning of your third semester, when you need to choose your specialization, if you want to go under general or you want to go under the master collaboration program, the master on corporate governance.
Hi, can I ask something on top of Arun's question?
Okay.
So I'm currently doing PBS MBA CG lah, okay? So
Okay.
I'm already in my fourth semester, and this was when I found out the steps of what I need to do to register from 1-1. So I'm already in my fourth semester and I have 3 more semesters left, but you said I have to do it in the third semester. So so how do I go about it? And I have about 4 years of experience as a co-sec.
Okay.
So
very
I
good for you.
lepas 1 semester.
But that one actually you said just now you already you have left another 4 semester, right?
Another 3. I'm in my, after this semester, the one that I'm currently in, I have 2 more semesters. So I would say about almost a year to go.
Yes, you still can register as a master student because you did not finish your program yet.
Okay, as long as I finish and then plus minus enough time for me to for you guys to process, then okay lah.
Yeah, that one like I mentioned, whether maybe you can just like soon as possible you can just register as a master student so that let's say before you complete the program lah, meaning that
I think by this semester or the next 1 2 weeks I'll
this
just
one is
complete
like
everything.
the intake, right? So you can just like submit to Miss Norzawani, ask her the guidelines, the request,
she
the
has given
documents
me
and
the
all that.
form. Some she has already given it to me, so I'll just process lah. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Miss Azura, I just want to double confirm. Because I'm currently an MBA in corporate governance, just entered. I'm in my semester 1 right now. Is it all right if I can, if I want to, if I can apply for the MAICSA application right now?
Yes, sure can. If let's say you are under the master on corporate governance, you if you want to like immediately register as a master student, still can.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Okay.
All right.
So Krishna Mala, okay, is there, if I do submit my calculation by mid of next sem, still can accept, is it? If I do submit my calculation by mid of next month, still can accept, is it? So, but now are you in which semester? May I know?
Hi Azura.
Yes.
Actually, I'm doing at the 3rd semester now. So so maybe like mid of just only enter with the subjects which I'm taking now for the related to corporate governance. So is it okay I apply maybe in mid of next month, because I'm planning to do so, but I believe so I might complete the semester by next sem, or maybe the following another 2 sems or another 1 sem only will do I have. So that's why
you will complete this program another 2 semester, right?
Yeah, within 2 semester.
Within 2 semester. Sure, can. You can submit your application by next month. Yeah, we'll still accept if you submit by next month, because it's still in the third semester, and you do have another 2 semester to complete. Still can.
Oh, if let's say I only have another 1 semester, because I have another 3 subjects only left. So I probably will be taking next semester. I'm planning to take by next semester, which means is it okay?
Yeah, but there's one. Make sure that you submit the application within this semester.
Okay, sure, can understand.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Lo Yewe, so when is the latest I should submit my application form? By third semester? let's say if you want, like you is very keen to become a MAICSA student, I mean under this collaboration, you can submit now. But if let's say you want, I mean you want to choose whether you want to go on a specialization or you want to go to the general MBA, that one, let's say you choose the specialization under the third semester, right? You can submit by the third semester. But the soonest it's very like the better lah, the soonest the better. So hi, any other questions before we close? Maybe after this, if let's say you have any further question, you may email to our general email, students@maicsa.rg.my, or you can directly email to me, norizura@maicsa.rg.my, or you can just straight away email to Ms. Norzawani, but Ms. Norzawani surely will forward your email to us regarding this. Meaning my application form can be submitted anytime before my graduation. It's not like before your graduation. If let's say you already finished the program, you do the like all the dissertations, you do the viva, everything, but you just wait for your graduation. No, we don't accept that one. You must register as a MAICSA student while you doing your master program, not after you finish all the subject and you just wait for your graduation. No, we don't accept that. You must register as a MAICSA student while you are doing the master program, not after you doing master program. Okay, so basically what you have to do now is that if you are keen to have this professional qualification to added your value later, maybe you can just get the form from Ms. Norzawani, fill up the form, prepare everything documents, you just need to register with us. So for duration for 2 years, you don't have to pay anything for us, you just do your master's program. Upon completion, then we will award you the qualification. That's all lah. So any other questions that you want to ask us?
All right. I think maybe you want to, Zura, maybe you want to write the email address in the chat box so that
okay, sure.
So that they can simply the general email as well as your email if you want to in the chat box so that they can email you later. So I think that's all. I'm so sorry to take so much time. We started at 2 o'clock and now it's already 3:42. But don't worry, if there are more requests to have this kind of session, we will surely have it in the future with the collaboration with MAICSA. Thank you so much for attending this session, especially to Ms. Samantha, to all the staff from MAICSA. You guys are amazing. And of course, the participant as well for having lots of questions to be asked. And I'm sure you will find this talk benefit yourself as what I have also again, and hopefully we will have more students to be registered with MAICSA to become member so that you can earn all those benefits as well as enhance your career advancement. Thank you so much and hope we'll see you again and good luck in your future career. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you,
Prof.
everyone.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Doctor. See you following week.
And always support the second greatest club in the world. Bye-bye.